Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. Do you prefer to do your video gaming in the past? Then join me as we travel back to November 1982. We were last checking out all the video games that we couldn't find a definite release date for in November 1982. They could have been released in the beginning of November, the end of November. We have no idea. We last played Conveyor Belt, and after further review, I actually want to say Conveyor Belt is a 2.5-star game. It's not a bad game, but it's still average, but not a 3-star game. 2.5 stars for Conveyor Belt of all the games you could play on all home computers. Let's see what our next game is. Our next release takes us to Japan, where we're going to check out Galax. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it, but I mean, or Galax. That's it. That's the whole title of the entire game. On the Sword M5. If you're asking yourself, what in the world is the Sword M5? It's that. That down there is the Sword M5 home computer. This is the third game that we've seen on this home computer after Dig Dug and Bosconian. Here's the box for Galax. Oh, very nice. Yes, it is very much a official game, part of the Galaxian series, and I don't see the logo for Namco, but oh yeah, this is Namco. This is official. Namco made, or Namco got some other people or team to do it for them, but yeah, Namco's been the company that we've seen for the majority of the games so far on this home computer. In no particular order. There's the cartridge we're going to pop into play, Galax, with an example of the screenshot. Oh, and the screenshots already give it away. Let's pop it and play Galax. Namco brought us this at some time in November 1982. This is the 32nd game that we've seen by Namco. Majority of the games that Namco's done so far have been in the arcades. Big games like Galaxian, King and Balloon, Pac-Man, Rally X, Galaga, Bosconian, Pole Position, Super Pac-Man, not that Miss Pac-Man and all these other games by Midway. I'm talking from Namco themselves. At home, they had a couple games on the Commodore VIC-20, Jelly Monsters, and Radar Rat Race. And also on the Atari 2600, Pac-Man, came home on that one. We saw Galaxian on the Atari home computer, and we saw Galaxian and Pac-Man on the Atari 5200 so far. That's all the games that they've given us. Now, this one allows 2 people to play, but you don't get to play at the same time. But that's okay with me. Ready? Pushing number 1. And we're going in. It already sounds the part. Oh, it does big time. Look at that. Oh, and the firepower is good. It's real. The enemy characters are doing that one color sprite on the screen, but wow, yeah, you get the rhythm going just like you did in the arcade. That's awesome. Oh, there it is. Okay, I really want to see how this works out because we're obviously playing Galaga, and this is really big. It's actually bigger than you think. I want to see... I wanted to see if the ship would... If you shot it while it was stationary, it would eventually, fight against you. But it looks like we won't find that out right now. Now it's just time for hardcore firepower. So far, I'm seeing, it almost seems like a slight limitation of the hardware because of the a little slowness of the characters, but wow, it's actually really close or feeling so close to the arcade. Obviously, the arcade was doing a vertical resolution, and this one is a little scrunched down, but wait a second, there's a big thing missing. Where's the challenge stage? There's no challenge stage, at least not that I can see. The bonus works the same as it did in the arcade. 20,000 for your extra life, and then after 70,000, you get another extra life. Now, playtest for this, I was amazed at how good this was, because I've been waiting so long for this. I've been waiting for anything so long like this. Whoa, okay, now we're getting faster. Oh gosh, yeah, I thought it was a limitation. No, they're just holding back on us. Look at this. They are flying in. Whoa, I barely missed that one. But I've been playing and testing this so much, having a great time. The biggest difference is the challenge stage missing, but this one has really good cadence based on the arcade game. If you were a fan of the arcade game, this would have been so good. No. Oh. It's even doing the sound effects. We got a bit of the song from Galaga when we started off. Stage 3's kicking off. I'm getting some incredible luck getting the timing right, but oh, and there, see, I shouldn't have said anything. Oh yeah, it plays very, very well. Oh, and there's another life down. I think we could still get a capture if possible, but these enemies are now so fast, you have to be on your toes. Maybe get the timing right. No, not going to get those on that side. We'll try these. And then we get them down to come. Let's see if we can get another. Whoa, they're doing wide patterns. Okay. Really loved Galaga when we saw it in the arcades. It was the... Oh, there it is. Oh, I shot my own ship. I was trying to see if I could shoot the ship that had captured it, because if you do that when it's stationary at the top in the arcades, then your ship would like fly to attack against you. Sweet. Yes, so yeah, James brings up in the chat about the SG-1000 version. Yeah, we're not going to see that one for a while. So this actually is close to the same kind of graphics chip that's in the SG-1000 that's released next year. And so this feels kind of like that. It's very, very close. But right now, this is so fresh to play and see something just like this. At this point on Chronologically Gaming, we've played 382 games that have been fixed shooters. In other words, you move left, you move right, you shoot. Brought to us by Space Invaders and everything that's been like Space Invaders up to this point. There's a lot of those. On home computers, this is the 218th fixed shooter that we've seen. On all systems, we've seen games that kind of play like Galaga, feel like Galaga, but it's not doing the mechanic where your ship gets captured and then you have an additional firepower if you bring that ship back. No video game has copied that. There's been a few games that have similar enemy patterns, like as they fly in. I thought to myself, oh, that looks a little bit like Galaga. AE is a home computer game that we played that does that. Satan's Hollow was doing that, and then Erusian that we saw. But that's it. There's been no video game that's been incorporating that element, and so I've been waiting for something to be a true variant of Galaga. Now, while this isn't called Galaga, this is a true game in the series. It's Galax, like I guess the version that's made for home computers. But this is so good. To see anything close to this is awesome. Yeah, I'm very impressed with the speed, too. It starts off a little slow, because you look at the top of the screen, the enemies fly in a little bit slow-paced, and then they go to the top, and they have the patterns that are pretty close to Galaxian. But as the game goes on and the difficulty increases, these enemies are flying in so fast and so well done. The control, though, is tight, too. Before I did the show, I was playing Galaga and this one back-to-back to see if I could see any differences. Obviously, there's a little things here and there that are tweaked, but the way that this plays is spot on. I can totally understand how Namco did this themselves, in-house, to make this amazing. Because you can do the same you do in the arcades. If you have the right rhythm of your shot, you can just blow through the enemies, especially with the double shot. They may have left out the challenge stage for hardware limitations, but, I mean, it's still really, really good. So far, all the games we've seen on the Sword in 5 have been video games needing to stand on their own. There's no frills, no thrills, no game options, no variations. It's just, here's the game. If you like the game, you're gonna like it. But if you don't like the game, then you're not gonna get anything fancy or different. They're trying to go for as close as they can to an arcade port here. Why they called it Galax, though, I don't know. Why didn't they just call it straight up Galaga? Maybe because it's not exact. I mean, it's really close to Galaga. The other thing it's not doing is it's not giving my shot ratio and hit. And I don't have the different rank that I had before. Oh, man, see how quick it was? I guess I could have gone for a capture of the ship, but the risk-reward of Galaga is still here, alive and well, and it plays so good. Oh, wow, look at the speed of them flying in. Amazing. So good. So even after all these shooters that we've seen up to this point, all those... I lost it again. All these games, this is still amazing, because we haven't seen anything that is trying to rip off exactly Galaga. And I find that it's so surprising. There's so many copies and clones and variants of games that are out there that we've seen that I don't know why anyone didn't rip off Galaga. It's crazy. I know, Brad says there's no complaints. I don't have any complaints with this either. Right now, this game is tops as far as an arcade game to play on a home computer, as far as a shooter to play on a home computer. This is like the top tier. Galaga was already top tier in the arcade, so I mean, look at this. Too good. You see at the beginning, and you might have some doubts, you know, but keep playing it. And the other thing I noticed too is it has, oh, it does work. Go! So that was a little different. Usually there's a commander or a master ship that does the force field, and you can't have the commander or master ship by itself. But it looks like they made the exception, so I'm glad. Now we can get powered up and keep going. Awesome. So I'm already seeing a rating thrown out in the chat. 4.5 stars from Curtis of all the games you could play right now on all home computers, which means one of the best you could play right now. Man, it's so fun. And if you have a friend to bring along, you will play alternate play, you know, hot seat multiplayer for the arcade. So it's like the arcade. Once again, very, very well done. Some of the limitations of the hardware are the colors. Notice that we don't have any scrolling playfield in the background. We don't have any multicolored enemy sprites. It's using what are the strengths of the hardware, but you have to remember this computer is brand new. So having to learn something this brand new and execute like this is phenomenal. And have I mentioned that this is fun? This is so fun. If you love Galaga, you would go crazy over this. All right, let's see if we can get another force field to pop in. Awesome. And it does work. Okay, now I want to see if I can do it. Okay, no, it only works whenever he's completely stationary. You can blow up the enemy at the top and see if your ship will then fire back at you. I really wanted to see if they incorporated that into it, but I need more enemies on the screen. He's just going to keep, yeah, he's just going to keep on coming down. And the musical notes in the background following what you would hear in the arcade, especially that sound. The sound of all the enemies dying is awesome. Yeah, that's true. The enemy sprites aren't animating in formation at the top. And we've seen some other games, well, mostly like Space Invaders, and a few Galaxian variants that do that. I love that it's following the same high score pattern. 20,000 points for the extra life, and then 70 for the next one. Awesome. Yeah, so in the chat, I actually got a 5 for all the games you could play on all home computers. This is so good. I love Galaga. It's one of my go-tos whenever I go to an arcade that has Golden Age arcade games, and this one is awesome. Yeah, the no challenge stage is glaring. You can see how the pacing of the game, it's better in the arcades because it has the challenge stage. So it's not a perfect port, but right now in November 1982, when you got a game coming from the arcade home, no one is expecting a perfect port. So this is still phenomenal. This is so good. I know, right? So close the way it sounds and feels. And the controls is what is also amazing. Now, this computer is using what they call the joypad on the Puta, but here it's the very similar controller. It's got a disc, kind of like the Intellivision. So you'd be controlling this with a disc, which is another downside. I would really prefer a joystick. I don't even know for sure if the Sword M5 had any joystick controller at all, or if they only had that hand control, or obviously keyboard too. All right, so there you go. If you like shooters, if you like Galaxian, Galaga, it's all part of the same series. At this point, there's been just a couple games in the official series that you could play, and this one is, I think, the third. That we had Galaxian, then we had Galaga, and then here you go. Unless you want to consider, the other ones on the Atari 800 home computer, and then of course, on consoles, we got the Atari 5200 with Galaxian as well. So this is pretty good. This is really, really good. Of all the games you could play across all home computers, I won't go as high as 5, just because I mentioned in the chat about how the enemy placements movement at the top of the screen is, the lack of the challenge stage, and because there's not a lot of elements that are giving this like variation or modes or options. Because of the pacing, you're just going from level after level, and it's a great game for a high score attack. But I don't know if I can go as high as saying 5. I'll still say 5. I'll still say 4.5 of all the games you could play on all home computers right now. This is top tier shooter and just video game in general. Check it out. At least if you were in November 1982. All right, after that, let's see what our next game is. We got more shooters coming up. This is the game Galaxians for the Commodore VIC-20. We're going to the United Kingdom to play now. All we got for this one is a few screenshots, so let's pop in and play Galaxians. This is by John P. Shea at some time in November 1982, published by Solar Software. This is our 315th game that we've seen for the Commodore VIC-20. I'm going to fast forward through the cassette loading because we don't have time for that. Solar Software and John P. Shea is the second game we've seen after Super Breakout. Not official whatsoever. It's all ripped off. All right, how do we play this? Your mission is to destroy the Galaxians, not to be confused with Galaxians. You must do this by firing your missiles at them. Okay, we have 3 ships per game, but with another 3,000. Okay, you destroy a full fleet. Oh gosh, what? We don't need. Why did they give instructions? Okay, that's a little more instructions. Thank you. There's your score. Green ships use keyboard only. Q, W, and P. Q, W, and P. I'm still going to try a joystick. That's weird. Why would it have keyboard controls only? Q, W, and P is the controls. Okay, let's play the game. And what does it do? It loads again. So we'll just go in again. There we go. Way to go, John. JP Shea. Destroy the ships for points. 3 fighters per game. And go. Is it really keyboard controlled only? It is. What? I don't believe it. It is. Oh, there's no joystick control. We've played so many games on the Commodore VIC-20 that are joystick controlled. So this is a great example, going back to back, one of the best games and best shooters you could play on all home computers to one of these. This is, I would even say, average for the games you would play on home computers. Definitely tile-based. It is, if you look at the bottom of the screen, watch how my ship moves. It's it feels slower, it chugs. The enemies, as far as you want to call it, a Galaxian variant, are slower. I do get more shots, though. I'm not doing a single shot at a time like you would in the arcade or some other variants, but whoa, it is glaringly different compared to what we just played. It makes me want to go back to Japan and keep playing that, because I think that's all this is. Yes, this is the game. Everything you're seeing here is the whole thing. It's just going to go faster. We might, yeah, we're not going to see different enemy patterns. You get 2 different colors of enemies. You got green or purple, and that's it. And you better like it. So this is our 383rd fixed shooter that we played on Chronologically Gaming, because we're playing everything in order. On home computers, this is the 219th fixed shooter that we played. And on the VIC-20 alone, this computer alone, this is the 56th fixed shooter. That's how many shooters are already out here that you could play. This one, there's so many games that are like this or similar to this. We can actually compare this to everything else on the Commodore VIC-20. And we don't even need to use all the other home computers that are out there. 56 games that are fixed shooters, and, based on Space Invaders, Galaxian, Phoenix. There's so many things out there. Oh man, yes. Yeah, and the sound is okay for the Commodore VIC-20, but very simple. Notice there's no tunes or music. We're now getting the higher quality games are the ones that actually bring some music and song to the gameplay. Yikes, that's rough though. Yeah, the character set mode graphics are very, very simple. It's the other thing too is the control. The control feels a little rough when you move left and right. It doesn't feel as smooth, and I'm also using keyboard. I always give the games a higher score when they're controlled with a joystick, even if it's not the joystick you really like. Because some home computers will have a joystick you don't really care for, or at least the stock joystick. You can buy proprietary ones, but when the game incorporates joystick control, that's always a plus. Looking in the chat, James has already thrown a 1.5 to 2. Yeah, it's definitely a Gala downgrade for sure. This one almost is comparable to Space Invaders too. I know we have enemies flying down, but I mean, look at the patterns at the top. It's even close to Space Invaders. We've played 103 variants of Space Invaders, not including all the variants of Space Invaders. And on the Commodore VIC-20, this is the 16th game that kind of feels or looks like Space Invaders. Vic Vaders, both Vic Invaders and Terminal Invaders, and Deadly Duck is on the Commodore VIC-20. As far as Galaxian games, this one is the 81st variant that we played on all systems. Games that play kind of like Galaxian. I already got the game over. Keep me going. Put me in, coach. On the Commodore VIC-20, this is the 6th Galaxian variant that we've seen. We've seen Arcadia, which is a very, very good one. Space Freaks, Star Battle, Triad, and Alien Blitz, just to name a few of the Galaxian-style games here on this home computer. So, if I had my money, I'd say this is closer to Triad. If you want to compare or think of it in the same level as Galaxian-style games. I wouldn't want to say it's as bad as Alien Blitz that's available for the Commodore VIC-20, but it's still in the bad range if you want to think of everything that you could play on all home computers. Yeah, looking in the chat, someone said the poor man's Galaxian. I'm pretty sure by the time we finish this show, we're going to have the name Galaxian spelled so many different ways, you won't even be able to tell which one's which. But Galaxions for the Commodore VIC-20, this specific version by Solar Software, I would say 2 stars. Of all the games you could play on all home computers, it's in the bad range, because our 5-star rating has this as our bad range, but I'd say 2 stars for everything you can play on all home computers right now. Got a very generous rating in the chat by Brad, 2.5-star rating. Very nice. Or even lower. Lots of different ratings, because with shooters, it also depends on if you want to play something like this or not. All right, after that, let's see what our next game is. We're going to hang on a little longer in the United Kingdom and play on the Sinclair ZX Spectrum. This is Game for Anything. This one is so rare and hard to come by, I have no pictures. I didn't even want to make my own pictures. Let's just pop in and play Game for Anything. This is by KBG Judson at some time in November 1982. This is our 138th game for the Sinclair ZX Spectrum. This is still fresh. This is new. KBG Judson. Never heard of them before. This is the first game, maybe the only game they've ever done. This game is, of course, stupid, but as you must be game for anything, you must continue. The idea is to drop oil on the ladders, which are ascending, and the ladders will retreat. 3 drops the oil. You move yourself with the key. Oh, so you move the cursor keys. Oh, yes, I forgot to tell you that it is impossible. Well, at least it's got a sense of humor. I like that. All right, so of our 138th game, everyone ready? Set. I'm going to get my keys in the right spot and go. What is this? Looks like we have a wall on the side. Okay, we have at the top of the screen. Oh, I'm dropping the oil. Okay, as if it was like a medieval game, making sure they don't invade the castle. I can only drop 1 oil at a time. Why didn't... Yeah, I can tell you they say this is extremely simple. And we have seen plenty of games like this. It almost gets the nod as being a 1-button game, but at least I'm moving left and right, so it's not actually a 1-button game. But man, oh man, very simplistic. And yes, it's the game will be game over. It's inevitable. I'm going to be dying at some point. Yeah, this also game is a game that was never really published, to my knowledge. Just JBG Judson did this himself. And I don't think it was a type-in game, but it was for the brand new Sinclair ZX Spectrum. Here on Chronologically Gaming, we've played public domain games or freeware games. This one is the 63rd public domain game. And Game for Anything, oh, here come the enemies. Do I get to fight them next? Or is that just, yeah, that's it. Hello, I am a friend. You aren't very well defended. You lasted, at least they have jokes. I wondered if you'd like to dine with me tonight. If you do, we can play Mastermind. If you don't, we can die now. I'll take that as a yes. See you later. What in the world? Oh man, yeah, this is just someone messing around with the Sinclair ZX Spectrum, having fun. Wait, no, it went to Mastermind. Whoa, wait a second. It went to Color Wait, it's gonna play the game of Mastermind too? Wait a second. So wait, enemy reaches the top ladder, and he actually wants to play a game of Mastermind First, you'll be waiting for your number of guesses. Okay, enter, and it's going to scroll and give us the instructions for Mastermind? What? You only have 15 tries at my super code. All right, so yes, this is Mastermind built into the game after someone reaches the top. So that's pretty quaint, but I don't know how long I could keep playing to find out how many things are hidden in a game for anything. That sounds like the title for this show. We should call it Game for Anything because that's what we do. Well, I won't play any longer, but intriguing, interesting, but for the most part, it's bare bones bad. When you think of all the games you can be playing on all home computers right now, it is fun. Someone threw this together on the Sinclair ZX Spectrum right now, but I would say of all the games you could play on all systems up to this point, 1.5 stars. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that either, Marshall. Crazy. And fun. Let's see what our next game is. Oh, that sound means it's time for another Star Trek variant. I'm sure everyone has been clamoring for more Star Trek. This is Giga Trek on the Atari home computer. All I got for this one is an advertisement, and there it is by John Shepard. Way to go, John. The first game that we've seen John Shepard do. He did do a port of a game called Shooting Stars on the Intel 8080, and we didn't see or showcase that one, so sorry. We don't play every single mainframe game. John Shepard. Giga Trek has features not found in other Star Trek games. Ooh, tell me more. Including movement and trigonometric coordinate system for navigation. I'm sorry, what? It is your task during play to destroy the combined fleet of Klingons and Romulans that are menacing the Federation throughout the galaxy, and you have to do so in a specified number of star dates. Yes, that's correct. I'm familiar with Star Trek. There's the example of the screenshot. Let's pop in and play Giga Trek by John C. Shepard at some time in November 1982. This one's our 403rd game that we played on Chronologically Gaming, on the Atari home computer. Now this one, I actually got to do a little emulation cheating. This one requires you to load the cassette that we've popped in. Who in the world is playing cassettes on their Atari when you could play cartridges? Why? Why would you want to do that? And we'll just fast forward through the load. I do not want to wait for my cassettes to load. We got games to play. Or you can go play Donkey Kong or something like that. All right, here we go. Ready? And hit it. Giga Trek. This one's by Artworks. This is the 11th game we've seen by Artworks. They've done a few games like Encounter at Questar 4, Vaults of Zurich, and Golden Gloves. And for Star Trek games, ladies and gentlemen, this is our 62nd variant of Star Trek, the mainframe game from 1971. And on the Atari home computer, it's the 5th Star Trek variant. We've already seen 5 on this computer. Stardate 7574.1. Your mission, destroy the... 17 Klingons. That's not too bad. What's our command? Do we have long-range sensors? I think if I just type C, it'll be... Yeah, there you go. There's my list of commands. I put the artifacting on so you can see the fancy graphics on the Atari home computer. No way, they got the Doomsday Machine? I'm doing that first. No, wait, no, I won't do that first. The Doomsday Machine is an element they brought into Star Trek games that just allows you to blow everything up. Like, just blow the world up when you don't want to have to deal with Star Trek games. The whole game's over. I think it blows up the whole galaxy. We won't do that yet, but we will soon. All right, so let's do a long-range scan. Wow, it's doing it the old school way. So this is all text. So it's like we're looking at a spreadsheet. It's VisiCalc Star Trek. That's what this version's like. Okay, it breaks down what we got in each quadrant, and it doesn't say where... Okay, we're in quadrant 10-3. Okay, so if we do... I forget the commands again. They're not doing it by letter. They're doing it by number, which is very... It's more rudimentary. It's like 70s video gaming instead of 80s video gaming. This is so old. It's like from 1979, dude, which is, what, 2-3 years ago from now? All right, so yeah, I'm looking in the chat about the disk drives and the cassettes, and this home computer, the 400 and 800, had the medium. If you bought the disc, you could play 5 1/4 disc games, and you could play cassette if you got the cassette for it. But I'm always a big fan of the cartridge. Just pop in and play, fast like it's a console. But people are still playing on all the other mediums too. And Marshall's throwing out the Star Trek references. I love it. All right, let's do short range scan. Scanning 10-3. That's what I'm looking for, the dots. Enterprise is represented by E. Asterisks are just stars, and essentially it's just things in our way. Okay, yeah, nothing else there. And then we got Shield control, where's the shields? Usually it's S, but no, I don't see anything about the shields. We have ship computer to give us more stats. Oh, we have the galactic record or a calculator. Oh, you can do X coordinate calculator. Yeah, just cancel that and just go to movement. We don't even have warp. It just says movement. That's very boring. All right, bearing. Let's do 3, 11. And engage. I don't even know if it worked. Let's do a short range scan and see. Oh, we're still 10-3. Never mind. I need to do 10-4 to see if I move in the next quadrant. Oh, thanks, Curtis. Yeah, deflectors. Oh, okay. Man, see, when the Star Trek variants try not to sound Star Trek-y and not say shields, then it's not as cool. Yeah, there we go. Drop deflectors. Okay, so I have deflectors up. That means shields are up. What about status report? We got our speed, energy, plenty of energy, bearing. Okay, so this game is playing like one of the old school Star Trek games. We played so many up to this point. This one's like a throwback. It feels like this should have come out in 1980, 2 years ago, maybe. It's interesting playing Giga Trek now. It is incorporating some of the elements we've seen from later Star Trek games, but it's also turn-based. This one is not real-time. Notice I don't have to go kill Cleons or lose everything. I actually can take my time if I want to, which is kind of cool. Yeah, and it's also very slower pace when you think of all the games you could be playing on all home computers. So Giga Trek is okay. Out there right now, all the Star Trek games we've seen up to this point, Stellar Trek is the only Star Trek variant that's available on consoles. Every other Star Trek game we've played has been on home computers. This is a computer genre. Atari Trek, Galactic Quest, Star Trek 3.5, Battle Trek. Those are all the other ones that you could play right now on the Atari home computer. So at this point, Star Trek games, these kind of Star Trek games, we're starting to get into the point where there's just so many. It's hard to compare between the two. I would still say you'd have a good time because of the features involved, but it is clumsy because you have to type everything in. There's no joystick controls. So looking over the chat, we got a lot of people that are divisive. Whether you're a Star Trek fan or not, you have to look in the past to see how many Star Trek games we played. We got 2 stars thrown out in the chat, 1.5 stars, 2.5. Yeah, right? Yeah, 2 for now. You have to play it more to know. I've played longer in the playtest, and it actually works, responds well. It has a lot of the features that the newer games do, but it is more rudimentary. So I'm actually going to say 2.5 stars. It's still an average game for all the games you could play up to this point, but we've seen better Star Trek games for sure. Yeah, there's way better Treks out there. I'm with you on that. All right, after that, let's see what our next game is. Oh, that means it's time for another Star Trek variant. It's Giga Trek, also for the Apple II. But this version of the game doesn't exist. I don't know where this is or where I could find this game, so we're not able to actually play Giga Trek on the Apple II. It would have been the 420th game. Well, it's the 420th game we've seen on the Apple II up to this point on Chronologically Gaming. This version, Giga Trek, it was also available for the North Star home computer and CPM. So you could have played on those computers, but you don't expect us to shell out every single computer version of everything out there. So for this one on the Apple II, I got to call it a 0. We didn't even get to pop in to play it even a little bit. I'm pretty sure it plays like all the other Giga Treks out there, but here on Chronologically Gaming, if we cannot play the game ourselves, it has to get a 0. Sorry about that. Maybe we'll play more Star Trek games, or maybe they're all done. There's no more after that. All right, that's where we got to put our video game playing on pause. Thanks again for joining me here on the live show, playing every single video game in order of release. We do go all over the world. We do play every single video game, and if there's any games that we missed, throw them my way, and we'll do our best to play those. Next time on Chronologically Gaming, another first-time arcade game hops home officially by Atari on the Atari home computer. That's it for today, and like I always say, thinking of an original game idea is hard. Let's just copy Pac-Man. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.